When your heart is black and broken and you need a helping hand.
Hey guys, it's Dan here from the Total Stone Roses. Just a little video lesson today. I've had quite a few requests from people on the Facebook page and on Twitter to have a look at the solo to 10 Storey love song. So that's what we're going to try going through today. It's a pretty cool little solo. It's quite reminiscent of, even though it's on Second Coming, which is a bit more Led Zeppelin-esque and a bit more fiddly on the guitar, it's a bit more reminiscent of John Squire's early work on the debut album. So there's no like mental kind of bends or any sort of pentatonic-y stuff. It's all pretty straightforward. So it's a really cool solo, really melodic, which is typical of John's playing. So the version that we're going to do is based on the live version that John plays, or he had played from the Heaton Park gigs. So it's the same notes that are on the recording of the original. You can play this version over the original and it will sound fine. He's just embellished it a little bit in terms of the octaves, as where he puts some of the notes and stuff. So this is the solo. You can have a listen to how it sounds. So that's the live version that John plays of the solo from the Heaton Park gigs. The only real difference is the start and the beginning. The recorded version is exactly the same melody-wise. He's just playing on a slightly different position on the guitar. So let's break it down and have a look at it. So we're starting off doing some octaves, which is something that John kind of tends to use quite a bit on some of the Second Coming tracks. He uses it in the solo to Tears as well. So what we're doing is we're taking our first finger and we're putting it on the 12th fret of the D string, and then we're taking our little finger and we're playing the octave of the first note. First note is a D, and we're playing this note here on the 15th fret of the B string. So we've got our first finger on the 12th fret of the D string and our little finger on the 15th fret of the B string, and you have both fingers on at the same time and you play both notes. So when you're doing it, the middle note, the G string, should be muted, so you won't have that one sounding. So when you're playing it, you'll kind of almost strum just those three strings, so the D, G and B string, but you won't actually be getting a sound out of the G string. You need your first finger to mute that note so that it doesn't sound. So you should get this sort of sound. And you can put a bit of vibrato on there as well if you want. So that's the first note, so we're going. Then we're taking the same octave shape and we're moving it down one fret. So our first finger moves down to the 11th fret and our little finger moves down to the 14th. So we're going. And then we're sliding from the 14th fret with our little finger and the 11th fret with our first up to where we were. So we're going. Kind of like that. After that, we take the same shape and we move it up 2 frets. So now your first finger is on the 14th fret of the D string, and your little finger is on the 17th fret of the B, and you get this note, which is an E in octaves. So you put that in afterwards, so you go. That's the first bit. We then go back to the first position that we were in, so little finger, 15th fret of the B string, first finger on the 12th fret of the D, and we go that little bit. So what we're doing now, starting there, moving it down 1 fret and then back up. So the full thing so far is. After that, we then start with the same place again and we move it down 1 fret, kind of like that. Then we take the full shape and we move it down another 2 frets, so your little finger is now on the 12th fret of the B string and our first finger is on the 9th fret of the D string, and then we slide that down another 2 frets. And we do that rhythm. So we slide, take that down, and then play that note again. So we got. So the full thing so far is. Okay, so that's the first bit. This next bit is a little bit more sort of technically challenging. It's got an alternate picked passage. If you don't know what that is, that's when we take our plectrum and rather than just picking down strokes and just going, we actually pick down and up. So we go down, up, down, up, down, up. And it sounds like this. Okay, so it's a little kind of fast passage. The speed of the record is something like, so it's a bit faster. And you want to alternate pick every note. So what we're starting out with is our little finger on the 10th fret of the B string, and then we're going to our second finger on the 8th fret of the B, so we're going like that, then to our first finger on the 7th fret of the same string, so we're going 10, 8, 7. The notes that you're playing there are A, G, F sharp. After that we've got, so we're going from our second finger on the 8th fret to our first finger on the 7th, so we got, then after that we take our third finger and we put it on the 9th fret of the G string, so we're going, then we're going back up like that, and we're doing the same sort of motif again where we go from the 7th fret to the 8th fret and back down, so we're going, and then we end it on this note here, which is our third finger on the 9th fret of the G string. So we got, now with that full thing you want to make sure you're using the correct fingering, so we want to use your little finger on the 10th fret, second finger on the 8th, first finger on the 7th, and your third finger on the 9th fret when you go to the G string. And then with your right hand, you want to make sure you're doing strict alternate picking when you're doing that. So you're going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So you should be starting on a downstroke and ending on an upstroke. After that, we move up slightly higher and we go, and again it's another alternate picked passage. So we're now starting with our second finger on the 15th fret of the B string. So we've got, so it's a little bit more complicated. So we're now going from second finger on the 15th fret of the B string to our first finger on the 14th fret of the same string, then to our third finger down to the 16th fret of the G string, back up to the 14th fret of the B. So you got those four notes. That's the 15th fret with your second finger on the B, down to the 14th fret with your first finger on the B, down to your third finger, 16th fret on the G string, and back up to the 14th fret of the B string. Then we're going down to the 16th fret of the G string. Then we're playing with our first finger the 14th fret of the G string. We play that twice. So we're going, and then after that, third finger, 16th fret of the D string, and then first finger back up to the 14th fret of the D string. that again, you want to keep it all alternate picked. So you start on a downstroke, so you go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So you want to start on a downstroke and end on a downstroke. After that, we've got this next bit. So what we're doing now is we're starting on our first finger on the 12th fret of the string, D string. And we're going to our third finger on the 14th fret of the D string. Then we take our first finger, take this onto the 11th fret of the G. So again. Then take our second finger, move that up to the 12th fret of the G string. Okay. After that, we've got this bit. So that's it, played twice. So what we're doing now is going up. Then we're doing a hammer-on and pull-off between the 11th fret and the 12th fret. That's with our first and second finger. So a hammer-on and pull-off. We then go down to our third finger on the 14th fret of the D string. And we play that twice. So that last note there on the 14th fret of the D string is played twice. Then we go to our first finger on the 12th fret of the D string. And then from there we do a hammer on. And that's from the 12th fret to the 14th fret on the D string. Then after that we go back up to this position. So we got so this next bit is our second finger on the 15th fret of the B string, down to our first finger on the 14th fret of the same string. Then we want to do a hammer on and pull off between those two notes. Then we go down to so those last two notes there, we're doing the 16th fret of the G string to our first finger on the 14th fret of the same string. So you got then after that we're doing so now going from the 14th to the 16th on the G string, and we're hammering on. So hammering on to the 16th fret, and then playing the 14th fret. And we play that last note twice. So we go. Then, and this is the final part. So we're now back to the octaves that we used at the start of the solo. So what we're doing here, first finger on the 11th fret of the D string, little finger on the 14th fret of the B. So we play those three strings, remember the G string in between is muted, and we slide that up one fret. So your first finger goes from the 11th fret to the 12th, and your little finger goes from the 14th to the 15th. After that, we then go and we go up another 2 frets. So we have our first finger on the 12th fret of the D string, and our little finger on the 17th fret of the B string. So we got Then we're going. So that finishes off the solo. So this bit here is our third finger, and we're going to the 16th fret of the D string. Then we take our first finger and we play the 14th fret of the D string, and then we go down to the 12th fret of the same string. So we're just doing this. Then from the 12th fret we hammer onto the 14th fret with our third finger. Then we drop our first finger and we take it down 1 fret to the 11th fret. Then we take our second finger and we end on this note here, which is the last note of the solo. So that last note there is the 12th fret of the D string. So you got, so that full little thing there is the octaves. So remember, you got the slide, moving it up 2 frets, and then, and that's the full solo. So just to do an overview of that again, starting off with the octaves at the start. So that's an important part to get right. Make sure that when you're doing the octaves, that you're using your first and little finger. The string in between, the G string, should be muted, so you shouldn't be getting any sound, you shouldn't be getting anything that sounds like that, and you shouldn't be getting anything like that. If you get any extra notes in between those two, it will sound quite muddy and won't really fit. The next part is the alternate picking sequence. With that one, it's really important to make sure you got the fingering correct, so using your little finger, second finger, and first finger, down to your third. Make sure you're alternate picking as well, so you're going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So you're starting on a down, ending on an up. Same for the next part, make sure it's alternate picked. So you're starting on a down, and ending on a downstroke, so everyone should be an alternate. It shouldn't be 2 consecutive ups or 2 consecutive downs in any of those. After that, got that part there, followed by that. And then to finish the solo off, we have this little octave thing again. So remember again, when you're doing that, first and little finger, string apart, so D, miss the G, then to the B. G string should be muted. When you're doing it, you should use your plectrum to play all 3 strings. Then we've got this little part at the end. So, the full thing, just one last time. And that is the full solo and how to play it and the breakdown and everything to 10 Storey Love Song. So guys, thank you for checking out this lesson. Hopefully you've got something from it. Any mysteries about how to play the solo have hopefully been revealed. It's not too tricky a solo to play, but having said that, there are parts which are a little bit tricky if you've not done them before, so the octaves are a bit funny to try doing at first if you're not used to that. Same with doing the alternate picking on the... If you're not used to doing strict alternate picking, that can be a bit fiddly as well. The key to all these little things is to taking it really slow and then to build it up in speed from there. So one thing I always say when it comes to doing anything fast is that speed is a byproduct of accuracy. So if you try to do something, if you try to run before you can walk, then inevitably you're going to fall over. So you want to make sure that you learn everything really, really precisely and really slowly. Make sure it's correct at one speed, and then slowly work the speed up to that of the record and the live versions. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed the lesson. There should be some information scrolling along the bottom about now. If you like it, check out our website, check out our gig listings, check out our Twitter page and our Facebook page. Make sure you give us a follow or a like. Let us know in the comments below what you think of the lesson, what other stuff you'd like to see. There's a few others in the pipeline. We've had quite a few requests for Shoot You Down, so we'll be looking at some of the guitar parts to that in the next coming few weeks. So yeah, if you like it, comment, share, tell your friends, and yeah, make sure you come to some of our gigs. So cool. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you later. Cheers.